yesterday?
Jenna, it was Thanksgiving.
Yes.
We ate, and then we
I don't know if I'd call it healthy. I ate half an apple pie about 4 hours ago. It was great. It was great. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody.
Rumor has it you went off of your...
I did.
Regiment.
Whatever it was.
Yes,
I had a little stuffing.
That is very good.
That's a good word. Thank you, brother. Good morning, everybody. Good to see you, Jenna Wolf.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Couple calories heavier, but I am even happier. Drew Brees and the Saints continue their dominance.
Out this morning?
Oh, did you really?
Let her do her job, please, Chris Carter.
If you did, we could
Let
talk
her do
about
her
that.
job.
A lot of football yesterday. We talked about Drew Brees, the Patriots. They're getting a big boost this week. We'll tell you why. But let's start in Dallas, where the Cowboys were playing Thanksgiving host to Washington. Good thing Washington didn't make dinner plans because Dallas kept him real busy all night. Dak Prescott threw for 289 yards and scored 3 total touchdowns. Ezekiel Elliott went off for 121 yards and a touchdown on the ground. And Amari Cooper finally had his breakout day, 180 yards receiving, 2 touchdowns in this one. Cowboys beat Washington 31-23. They are now tied, both teams atop the division at 6-5. Here's Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott on if he felt his team has turned things around.
100%. Just the way we're going and the way we're progressing, as you said, these last 3 games is defense making turnovers. We're actually going and cashing them in for touchdowns. We're taking care of the ball. Defense is getting us many, many possessions, even when we're punting it. So we're just all playing together. Offensive line's doing a great job holding up when we need to, making plays down the field. But there's still plays out there to be that have been left out there on both sides of the ball.
They say, if you really want to be a good team, you have to start rolling in November. And, we've just been focused, man, standing tall with our backs against the wall, relentless, and, hopefully we can keep this up.
All right, CC, so when you look at the Cowboys over the course of the last couple weeks, can you pinpoint one thing? What's really been the key for this team turning things around?
Well, one of the keys was, and one of the things we were critical about, was their inability to be have any type of consistency on the road. They had lost on the road and hadn't played the type of football that they had thought coming into this season. Because coming into the season, to not think that Dallas would be in the playoff hunt and wouldn't be fighting for the NFC East, that wouldn't be being realistic to what type of talent that they did have. So the inability to be able to play on the road, even at home, the inconsistency as far as the passing game, the inability to be able to make big plays. That's why before the trade deadline, they go out and they trade for someone like Amari Cooper. So they're playing football like in a phone booth, and their margin of error, even though they did have a good defense, if the defense let down, their offense wasn't explosive enough to be able to support them. Zeke was having a good season, but time after time in critical situations, the problem with Dallas was Dak Prescott could not make plays in the passing game, and their wide receivers and lack of a tight end, they were not difference makers on the outside. So did Dak really have a realistic, and the reason why we talked about Amari in the trade, we thought that Dallas couldn't really evaluate Dak fairly unless they had a #1 receiver.
Right.
And yesterday, that's what they were able to do. Even as we broke down what they should do before the game, Nick's like, listen, they got their best player is Ezekiel Elliott. They should lean on him, which they did do yesterday. But, man, the game is easier when you can open it up with that passing game.
They threw the ball more than I thought they would, and they had more success in the passing game than I thought they would. I went into that game. Washington had forced a turnover in every game all season. Dallas was going into yesterday 5-0 when they didn't turn the ball over. So I thought their best path to victory was just play a clean football game, let Colt McCoy make the inevitable mistakes that we saw him make. They did play a clean football game, but it wasn't because they only handed the ball to Zeke. Now, he did have 26 carries. I thought Zeke got them started. I thought that opening drive was critical, and he got them started on the right foot. They jumped out 7-0, but then they don't score again until the tail end of the first half, and a squandered red zone opportunity. They had to settle for a field goal. The difference in the game, obviously, was what you alluded to. Dak made a couple good but relatively basic throws that an elite playmaker did the most with. That Amari Cooper on both of those plays, took him to the house. With one play, a defender falls down, but he still has to make the cut to make him fall down. And the other play goes 90 yards. I thought he was going to get caught. Like, it was, those were elite plays where you finally saw that's the Amari Cooper that we had seen at Alabama in his first 2 years in the NFL.
And yesterday was the first time that I had seen, and Amari, and Jenna, you make a point seeing him there in the interview and been like, wow, that's Amari Cooper right there, right? Because sometimes, sometimes you don't know the guys, so now you start to see them in interviews. So Amari's an elite talent. He's an explosive wide receiver. He's a complete route runner. He can run in the slot. He can play outside. His yards after the catch. I mean, yesterday, I was like trying to listen, enough's enough, Amari. Right. I know we can't just keep blaming quarterbacks or blaming systems. At some point, your career is some part of your responsibility. And it's hard when you transition during the middle of the season. But if you look at what he's done in 4 weeks in Dallas, compared to 6 games this year in Oakland, I mean, it was time for him to have that type of breakout game. We've been asking these wide receivers, a number of them have gotten traded, but when you look at the overall productivity, and this game was needed for him because before yesterday, his longest pass of the season, I think was 36 yards. Yep. In Oakland. I think his longest pass play was 20-something in Dallas. So him to be able to make those explosive plays, you could see.
And he made him win, I'm sorry to interrupt, he made him when it looked like the game was slipping away from Dallas.
Yes.
They had blown the end of the first half, I thought, poorly twice. They blew it in the red zone. They got another opportunity. They blew it again. Washington comes out after Dallas goes 3 and out early in the second half, scores a touchdown. Now, all of a sudden, it felt to me, Jenna, that a game Dallas had been in control of, they're trailing. They're trailing 16-13, or I'm sorry, they're trailing 13-10, pardon me. And how did we get here? And then Amari on a 3rd and 2 takes it to the house. The next drive on 2nd and 9 from the 10 takes it to the house, and that flipped the football game.
Cowboys are taking their sweet time putting everything together. It took them a bunch of weeks before they figured out what it's going to take for them to win. Then they bring Amari Cooper in. Takes them a bunch of weeks before they figure out how to incorporate him into their lineup. So now they've got Amari Cooper working. At least we saw that last night. They got Ezekiel Elliott with 25 to 30 carries every game. He's going to give you hopefully a $1.50 wherever in there. Did they put everything together? Like, is this it now? Is this the team? How far can a team with both of these weapons go?
This is the thing. We have to be honest. Dallas was wrong this offseason. All right, they were wrong about Dez Bryant, and they didn't have an adequate replacement for Jason Witten. So it was going to take some type of transition. Dallas thought Allen Hurns was going to be a 1,000-yard receiver, going to be their #1 guy. We thought Cole Beasley, he's doing exactly what we thought. We thought Deontay Thompson would help him out. He's no longer with the team. So we were wrong about that. But they didn't sit and wait for 2019. They said, we know we were wrong. We're going to make a trade for Amari Cooper. So in doing that, a lot like the Cavs did last year, we have to recalibrate the team, give them a chance to be able to see a month with Amari Cooper. But I'm going to tell you, if you put 8 guys at the line of scrimmage, Amari Cooper will run off with it. So you have to be able to put some coverage towards him. So that part right there, Jenna, and they're in a unique year where the Washington Redskins, they lost 2 games in a row. They've lost a number of starters, and they're leaking oil and will not make it to the finish line. This is the kind of year that, yeah, you could take some time to get it together. So at 6-5, this is not where they want it to be, but this is a salvageable season, and they are sure enough the front runner to win their division and get themselves in the playoffs.
The drastic front runner. Our great producer Brumley and I every week do on Monday or Tuesday after football, we do what we call cross-offs.
Great is not typically a word I put with you or Brum.
I didn't assign it to myself. I assigned it to Brum. Our great producer Brumley, we do cross-offs, which is, so basically after 3 weeks of the year, we're like, we can cross off the Bills as far as teams that we know are not going to make the postseason. I can cross off Washington. Washington's cooked. I know they're 6-5. I understand they're tied for first in their division.
They're going the wrong way. Lost 3 of 4.
Lost 3 of 4. Since those offensive linemen have gone down, this great Adrian Peterson redemption story, that's gone out the window the last month. The last month, he's giving you 40 yards a game on 3 yards per carry. Now they also have Colt McCoy, otherwise known as a poor man's Ryan Fitzpatrick at quarterback, and you don't want to be a poor man's anything Ryan Fitzpatrick. You can cross them off. They're done. So unless Philly all of a sudden is going to have some revelation and turn into the team they were last year.
OBJ wants to run the table and win the next.
Okay, yeah, or unless the Giants go from 1-7 to 9-7, the Cowboys don't even have to be great the rest of the way to win this division and get the home game. If they play the way they did yesterday, then you talk about them as a team oh, is it more than just winning a bad division? Could they be a team that could upset someone in the playoffs? But right now, they should be as confident as any team in the league as far as where they are within their own division. Because the team they were chasing is done. Washington is finished. We saw it yesterday.
All right, let's take a break. There was another game last night. Saints-Falcons. Did Drew Brees and the Saints solidify